To the White House now, pushing for what could be the largest financial aid package ever, up to $1.2 trillion in an effort to shore up the economy in the face of what seems like almost certain recession. The administration going so far as to push for direct payments to U.S. citizens to up to $1,000 each in the next 2 weeks and promising to backstop struggling industries. This after earlier aid package fell flat in the Senate. Eamon Javers is following all of it for us. Eamon.
Yeah, good morning, Morgan. It's not clear exactly where we're going to land on those aid packages to different industries here. Ultimately, we don't know which industries at this point are going to get support. But here's what the White House is pushing for as of last night. Now, this is a big change just in the 24 hours previous to that. The White House now supporting those direct payments to industries, direct payments to Americans across the country. They're also talking about an $850 billion to $1 trillion stimulus bill that they want to get moving up on Capitol Hill after the Senate passes that phase 2 bill, which is still under consideration. The Senate is hoping to lock in a vote for that House bill today. They don't have that scheduled just yet. They are still working on that. The senators are also continuing to work on that larger package that Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin pitched to them up on Capitol Hill yesterday. Now, in that Senate Republican lunch, Mnuchin really raised some eyebrows by laying out some of the various scenarios that could happen with action or without action by Congress. One of the scenarios he laid out was a 20% unemployment number for the United States if no action is taken. That is a depression level figure of unemployment. It's an enormous number. But Mnuchin saying if Congress does not act here, that's where we could end up. I'm told this was just one of many scenarios, and that Mnuchin does not actually believe that's where we're going to end up ultimately, because Congress and the administration are taking action. But that's the worst case scenario that they're looking at. That injects a sense of urgency into all this. Mnuchin yesterday up on Capitol Hill said, how are we going to pay for this? Well, don't worry about that right now. Here's what he said.
In different times, we'll fix the deficit. This is not the time to worry about it. This is the time that hardworking Americans are impacted by government decisions. That's when the government has to step up.
So, Morgan, ultimately, we'll wait and see during the course of the day today where the Senate ends up on this thing. But there is a sense of urgency that's being pumped in by Treasury Secretary Mnuchin to try to get senators to abandon some of their political worries about this, some of their ideological considerations, and just vote for this thing while there's still time, Morgan.
Yeah, it's time is of the essence here, and I think that's exactly my question for you, Eamon. Clearly, there's some bipartisan support for a stimulus, but the devil's in the details. So realistically, how quickly can we see something like a big $1 trillion-plus stimulus actually make its way through Congress and start to affect Americans and businesses?
Look, if everybody's on board, Congress can move really fast. They can do that in a matter of days.
Okay.
The question is whether they can get everybody on board or not. And that's why Mnuchin was using that number, that 20% figure, to say, look, here's what happens if we don't do anything. You're talking about Great Depression levels of unemployment. That puts the onus on Congress to do something. So far, they haven't been able to wrangle everybody. I was talking to Senate aides last night who said that they have their fingers crossed this morning, but they haven't been able to herd all the cats and get everybody pointing in the right direction just yet.